It's 21 minutes past 4. Should women who are going through the menopause be given extra time off work by their employers? Today, the government has rejected a large-scale trial proposed by the Commons Cross-Party Women and Equalities Committee. Ministers said the changes in the Equality Act could lead to discrimination against men with long-term health conditions. But the author and broadcaster Mirella Frustrup is unimpressed.
This response, does nothing to help women's protection in the workplace. In fact, what it suggests is that we should be covered under the Disability Act. Now, menopause is not a disability. And, frankly, I think that that's just really representative of how patronising and how misplaced the government's approach is.
Ed Jenneson's an employment law specialist in Hull. He's also recently become a partner with Gunnar Cook. Ed, hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Hope you are. Where does the law stand currently on this, then?
Well, the law at the moment is quite unsatisfactory because employers have to ensure that they don't breach the Equality Act 2010 and ensure that they have a safe place of work for their employees. But there's nothing specifically for females who are going through the menopause. And I do have some sympathy with the reaction in relation to this decision because, to say that it has to be serious enough to amount to a disability has not been well received, and I can understand why.
What do you make then of the comment there that ministers saying that it could lead to discrimination against men with long-term health conditions?
Well, I don't agree with it at all because men and women with long-term health conditions are protected by the Equality Act already because the Equality Act states that if somebody has a physical or a mental impairment, which is long-lasting, and it disrupts your normal day-to-day activities, then you are protected from discrimination. So men and women with long-term health issues are already covered. So I don't really understand that comment.
Could employers do more then to support women in their own employment policies?
Well, they could do more, and the government are encouraging people or employers to do more, but there's no real sanction if they don't do more, unfortunately, and it's all on employees to sort of prove that they've got a disability or to say, the way in which you are making me work is less favourable to me because I'm of a certain age or less favourable to me because I'm a female. So the burden's squarely with the employee at the moment, and I think that does need to shift.
Is it likely then that we will see a challenge to this? I mean, the government's rejected this trial, but it was proposed by a cross-party committee. Are we likely to see more on this?
Well, we might, but it's been knocked back at quite an early stage, Andy. The Employment Lawyers Association was going to answer questions in relation to the proposal, and it's been knocked back even before the questions could be answered by the Employment Lawyers Association. So there may be some challenge, but I wouldn't be, terribly surprised if this was the position going forward.
What's the best advice then to women who are going through the menopause, who want extra time off? What can they do?
Well, in terms of getting extra time off, then there isn't really anything at the moment unless you go on sick leave, really. But the cases around the menopause and proving that the employee has a disability seem to focus on medical evidence as they would with disability. So I guess the best advice would be to involve your doctor and say to an employment tribunal, or in the first instance, your employer, and say, look, I've got these symptoms and they are debilitating. I'm on this medication and I'm being looked after by my GP. But again, it puts the onus and the burden squarely on the employee to react rather than for the employer to be proactive. But yes, certainly medical evidence is something which would be very helpful.
Ed, thank you very much indeed for your time this afternoon. Ed Jenneson there, employment law specialist in Hull.